Something just happened, everyone, that's somewhat interesting. So, I was over by the table, having my coffee, and I hear a vehicle coming down the road. It stopped right in front of the Forerunner and just stayed there. I got up and I started walking towards them to see what's going on, and they took off. I really didn't even notice that they had pulled in there until it was getting dark. That's when I saw someone shining a flashlight towards my campsite. My friends, welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. I hope you all are doing well. This episode picks up about 10 minutes after last week's adventure. I am out here in the Pisgah National Forest, and currently I am backtracking, going back the direction of the campsite that I had last night. The reason for that is interesting. So I'm making my way out of this area. I pull over at a nice spot to look at the view, and I see storm clouds gathering off in the distance. I had a little bit of service, I checked the radar, the forecast, and today there's a good chance of rain and thunderstorms. Because of that, I have decided to backtrack. I'm going to stay another night in the Pisgah National Forest. As you all can see, rain is beginning to fall now. Awesome. I love it. Let it rain, let it rain. This is actually the dry part of the year for the mountains here. Basically going from like September into October, generally we have a period of around a month where it's dry. And folks, it is definitely dry out. The last time that we got rain, like a good soaking rain, was a handful of weeks ago. When I came out for the trip yesterday, which would have been last week's adventure, I wasn't sure if I was going to stay out for 2 nights. But I packed for it. I prepared for it. Because of that, I have everything that I need for this adventure. Because it's going to rain, or at least it's raining right now, nothing's a guarantee, of course, I will do a different type of camp out this time. Instead of using the tent, I believe I'll stay in the back of the Forerunner and I'll just set up a tarp. That, my friends, does not sound bad. I may have found a campsite, everyone. Let's go check it out. It looks like the sun is wanting to come out. But it's actually raining pretty good, people. Raining hard enough to soak everything in the forest. Every bit of firewood. That's how it goes. Luckily for tonight, I do have an additional compressed log that I can use. And tonight it will be cool enough to have a fire. There is nothing like just kicking back, listening, watching the rain, watching the leaves fly out of the trees. I love this time of year. As far as this campsite goes, it actually looks pretty nice. There's something nailed to a tree over there. I'm not sure what that is. We'll have to go check on that. So we have some toilet paper in this tree. It's not nailed to it, but there is a nail supporting the teepee. As far as this part of the campsite, it's in pretty rough shape. I can tell a lot of people have camped here over the years. There's not a tree in this forest that hasn't been hacked on with a machete or a hatchet. People just doing dumb stuff. At the same time, there's quite a bit of garbage at this site. Luckily, it's really not that bad. It's all pretty minor. And it doesn't change my thoughts about staying here. Overall, I do like this area. This is not bad, not bad. I do wish people would take care of our national forest better. This area deserves better. This is free to use by anyone and everyone, but yet people don't respect it. And that's why every single tree has been chopped on, the bark's been scraped off on a bunch of these, which will kill those trees ultimately. 99% of people who camp out in these national forests and whatnot, they're good people. It's that 1%. When looking at what like the 1% will do to a forest like this, some may propose the question, because there's enough of the 1%, do you shut off this forest and prevent everyone from going to it? You can apply this same question to more controversial things such as like gun control. Just because you have bad apples with 1%, do you prevent everyone from having a firearm? At the same time, you can see what a slippery slope that is. The majority is good, a few are bad, do you punish everyone? Luckily, I don't have to figure any of this out. All I'm doing is just bringing up some interesting points for you all to consider. And of course, here on this channel, we don't talk politics, but we do talk common sense. Oh yeah. As far as it stands right now, the temperature's going back up. It dropped down into the 50s, but right now with the sun coming back out, it's going back up into the 60s. I'm about ready to take off the sweater here, and I need to think about getting a tarp up. I'm going to need more protection than just the back of the 4Runner if I plan to stay an additional night. You never know, it may not do any more raining, but then again, it could. So let's get to work, everyone. Let's get some protection set up for the day. As you all can see, we have the tarp set up, and I believe in the nick of time. The sky here is beginning to look pretty dark. When it comes to this setup here, you may have noticed how I started off. I tied one end to a tree quite low. I tied the other end to a tree quite low. Then I used these green elephant poles to lift the tarp up, which pulled the cordage taut. That way, I didn't have to make a whole lot of adjustments. The poles did the adjusting for me. That is a quick and easy way to get your tarp up without having to fool with a ton of adjustments. It is still quite dark, everyone, but it's not raining. While I was setting up the lights here, a little bit of light rain came through. It really didn't amount to much. Unfortunately, I do not know if it's going to continue raining or not. I have just about zero service out here. I'm able to send a text message, and that is it. So as far as the weather goes, it will be a mystery for the rest of the day into the night. I went ahead and I fired up the thermocell. Hopefully it will keep the mosquitoes at bay. There's quite a few more in this area than where we camped at last night. Or maybe the moisture has brought them out. Either way, there's more out here. I went ahead and I heated up some water. I'm gonna make some coffee, but I used some of that hot water to get this meal ready. You can eat this hot, you can eat it cold. I find that it rehydrates better with warm water. I have to admit, I'm quite surprised at how little traffic there is on that road today. Maybe it's because of the rain, I don't know. Even throughout the week, this forest road here is super busy. One of the reasons why it's so busy, there's an overlook on top of this mountain called Wiseman's View. And that is the hot spot for seeing a strange phenomenon here in the mountains, a phenomenon known as the Brown Mountain Lights. According to those who have seen the Brown Mountain Lights, they look like orbs of light, sometimes above the mountaintop, sometimes going through the forest. Stories concerning the Brown Mountain Lights go back hundreds of years to the 1700s. The first publication about the Brown Mountain Lights took place around 1910, something like that. It's been studied by scientists from all around the world. Is there something going on up there? Honestly, I have no idea. I have personally gone up there and looked for the Brown Mountain Lights on and off my entire life, and I've never seen anything. With that being said though, there is an interesting point that should be mentioned about the Brown Mountain Lights. The Cherokee Indians had stories about these lights. After they left, the settlers came in. Somehow the settlers discovered the Brown Mountain Lights, and it wasn't from the Cherokee. They had already left by that time. That can't be dismissed. That is an interesting point. I don't know. This day and age, with so many lights in the skies, airplanes, city lights, vehicle lights, campfires, with so many people out doing so many different things, it really does make distinguishing what you're looking at very difficult. Nonetheless, it's an interesting phenomenon. I have met people who claim to have seen them. I will be the first one to say that they were either drunk or high as hell. I have some crazy stories about coming up to this area to check out the lights and the crazy people who have been out there. Everybody's been nice, but everyone has been effed up beyond measure, and that's oftentimes how it goes when you come out to a national forest. Speaking of which, not once ever have I seen a forest ranger out here, or any form of law enforcement, ever. It's one of those things where just about anything goes out in a national forest. Anyways, crazy stories, folks, seriously. I have one story involving what my friends and I refer to as the silent puker. This is so stupid, but I'll share because, well, that's what I do. So, many years ago, 12 years ago maybe, some friends and I, it's late at night, we head up here to Wiseman's View, right? We're gonna see if we could see these lights everybody's talking about. We get up there to the parking lot, it's empty. except for one super large truck. It's been like jacked up and raised, big tires, kind of what you would expect for like out in the country, out in the middle of nowhere. We get to the overlook, some good old boys, their girlfriends, and obviously they've been having a good night. I assume that their campsite was nearby, but it's entirely possible that they were drinking and driving and doing who knows what else. Anyways, we sit down with them, we start talking, and we're having a good time. One of the girls I noticed was not saying much all of a sudden. And she was likely the most trashed one there. And all of a sudden, she just turns her head and just barfs. And then like looks back up and doesn't say a word. It was the most silent vomiting that I and my friends have ever experienced. She just sat there, moved on, acted like it was absolutely nothing. The silent puker. Ay, ay, ay. I know, that is the worst story anyone has ever told, but it's true and it's my story. And that's why you're subscribed to this channel. Make sure to subscribe if you're not, for more hard-hitting stories like that. I did have an experience this morning that I was going to tell you all about. I had left camp. I was heading down this mountain. This was before I changed my mind and went back. So I'm making my way over the mountain, along the ridge, and I get to the point where there's two vehicles basically parked side by side. There's a woman in this truck and there's a guy standing at her door, and he is talking to her. I don't know exactly what they were talking about, but it looked rather intense. And so I pull up behind the truck. I need to get by them. And I can see that he's saying something to her, like pull in front of my vehicle so I can pass, right? She pulls ahead and she stops, but she doesn't get over, so I can't go around her. That guy is saying something to her and he's doing this, like just one more minute, you know? That's when the woman driving the truck absolutely guns it and takes off down this forest road, just hauling ass. She dug a hole in the ground with her tires. I don't know what I interrupted, but I'm glad I interrupted it. I have no clue what was going on there, but it didn't look friendly, it didn't look pleasant. It's entirely possible they knew each other. Meeting out here is weird though. I don't know. Who knows? When you're out in a national forest on a forest road, anything goes. A lot of bad things happen in national forests along forest roads when they're out in the middle of nowhere. They're remote but easy to access. There's a lot of opportunity for bad things to take place. Last night, or in last week's adventure, I talked about some of the murders that have taken place in the Pisgah National Forest. I even spoke about some of the unsolved crimes and mysteries in the Pisgah National Forest. There's another one that I didn't mention. There's a ton. But there's a missing woman out here in this area. She's been missing for, I want to say a year. Maybe it's a year plus now. She just simply vanished. They found her vehicle and nothing else. And no, Bigfoot had nothing to do with it. I promise you that. There's a thunderstorm out there, folks. Things may get interesting here in just a little bit. But then again, you never know. Tonight for my bedding, everyone, I have the Deep Sleep Forerunner system, in addition to this brand new Nature Hike bag. This is actually a two-person sleeping bag, but it has some interesting features which allow me to use it all by myself, and I can kind of fold back the part that I don't need. In the future, I will do a preview on this and ultimately a review, and everything will make sense about it. The thunderstorm that was out there has skirted around us. As it stands right now, I don't know if it's going to do any more raining tonight or not. It might be done. That's okay though. The sun is actually shining through, warming things up. And that's okay, because it's a little bit chilly. The low this morning was around 49 degrees. It got up to 59, that's the highest that I've seen. And that's when I was driving, basically pulling into the campsite here. Seriously, everyone, these are perfect conditions. It's interesting how fall has come on this year. It's almost like a light switch was flipped. It went from like raging hot to cool, comfortable, and the leaves have changed colors like that. Give it another week, and the mountains up here are going to be incredibly beautiful. Anyways, everyone, already it's getting later into the afternoon. I want to say it's about 4 right now. My plan is basically to kick back and relax. I've looked around this campsite, and there's not a whole lot going on here. There's little paths and trails heading off everywhere. People going out to find firewood, that sort of thing. But no, there's not much going on here. I will say, though, that getting into this site was interesting. The road coming in is slanted like this. Seriously. Tomorrow when we drive out of here, you'll see what I'm talking about. What we're having is curry chicken along with some buttery mashed potatoes. The meal is from Real Termat, and I don't know if I've ever had this one before or not. I'm excited to try it. I have no idea if chicken curry and mashed potatoes goes together, but in my head, this sounded like a good idea. Everyone, this is freaking awesome. Rice, onion, chicken, pineapple. Pineapple. Very interesting, but at the same time, very good. Let's try this chicken curry with some mashed potatoes and see how that is. It doesn't do it any favors. That by itself is great. This by itself is good. They don't need to be mixed together. That does not work, my friends. This is nice, everyone. I tell you, this wire fire pit, I love it. It is such a good product. Super inexpensive, easy to put together, and it offers 360 degrees of heat. The heat is coming from the top, from the sides, from the bottom. I can sit here and my legs are warm, my feet are warm. It's really nice. That's nice on an evening like this where it's beginning to get chilly. Here in a few weeks, everyone, I have something big coming up. I am going on vacation, naturally with Susie, but also my daughter. Our daughter is going to meet us. She's going to fly down, and we are going to have a vacation together, which is going to be a ton of fun. Unfortunately, her husband can't join us. He's deployed at the moment. She just deployed, came back. As soon as she got back, he deployed. We're going on vacation together. And just in case you don't know, I've kind of talked about this before. Anytime I go on vacation, I want it to be warm, tropical, right? I also want to have a stiff drink nearby. My daughter and I, and Susie, we have plans to drink it up and have fun, and I cannot wait. I don't know if I've ever really drank with my daughter. No, I haven't actually. If I think about her timeline, we definitely have not had any drinks before together. She joined the U.S. Navy when she was 17, shipped off, went to boot camp, turned 18 in boot camp, and now she's 25. Within the U.S. Navy, she is involved within the intelligence circle. And since she's been promoted quite a few times. And she's getting up there. She's really doing well for herself. With what she has to do, and I don't even understand what she does not talk about it. She has to go to Washington, D.C. quite often. She has to go, give briefings, get briefed on whatever it is that she's doing. Anyways, she said that for the first time ever, going to D.C. is actually safe. Over the last couple of years, she said it was like the worst part about her job. DC was incredibly dangerous. She said that Afghanistan was safer than going to DC, which is absolutely insane. But that's what she said. She was in Afghanistan within like the first 2 years of going into the US Navy. And she said, I remember specifically one night the base was hit by rocket fire. And one of the rockets hit so close, it knocked the air conditioner out of her window. I want to say it was the 8th grade, my 8th grade year. The class went to Washington, D.C. a friend of mine was robbed in the McDonald's bathroom. Just in case you don't know what's taking place in Washington, D.C., there's been a federal takeover, basically of law enforcement and all that stuff. And they have dropped crime substantially in that area. And there's talks of that taking place in other cities. Here in North Carolina, it needs to happen in Charlotte. And there's other cities too, but Charlotte, whew, it's bad. It's really, really bad. Anyways, folks, I'm going to finish up dinner, and then we'll stand around this fire and do some more talking. As it stands right now, the temps are in the mid-50s, something like that. As far as the rain goes, we had rain this morning, a little bit of rain in the afternoon, and that's been about it. The plan for the rest of the evening is pretty simple. I'm going to stand around this fire for a while, and then call it a night. Already, it's got to be about 9 o'clock. It's amazing to me how fast the day has gone by. I don't feel like I really did a whole lot around camp, but yet the hours just disappeared. That's when you know you're having a good time. When the hours just go by, you don't even notice. They don't drag on. Well, everyone, it is that time again. It is time to go to bed. I stood around that fire for a long time. The conditions are just perfect. It's cool and warm, and the forest is alive. I had a good time. I just stood around that fire for a number of hours, and already it's after 11. I'm going to bed. I will see you all at 5 a.m. Sleep good. I'll see you in the morning. Good night, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. The current time, it's about 5:45, something like that. I decided to sleep in just a little bit. I slept great last night. I was warm all the way up until, I don't know, about 4. Then I went ahead, turned on the heater a little bit. Let me tell you, it is nice and cozy inside of that 4Runner. Out here, it is cool and breezy. A breeze kicked up last night around 3. And every so often I'll hear it just kind of blowing through the trees. But all in all, it was a good night, nice and quiet. Once I went to bed, I didn't hear anything. I want to say there was maybe like a car or two that went up and down the mountain, but that's about it. When it comes to the drive out of here, we don't have far to go. I want to say it's only a mile or two from the main road. The night before, we stayed 8 or 9 miles up and over these mountains. My friends, this is so much better. The 4Runner is blocking the wind, and I have my heater here. Life is good. Cheers. I wasn't sure that I was going to like this 4Runner as much as I do. Previously, I had a Toyota Tundra, long bed, and a ton of space. But then I decided I really didn't need a vehicle that big. So I got this. It was a good change. In the smaller space, hasn't been a problem. Now, Susie and I can't sleep inside of this thing together, not unless she's like on top of me or whatever. Vice versa, I don't know. It's early, folks. It's early. Give me a break. But for one person, this works great. I was texting my brother last night. I don't have good data connection out here. I can't surf or anything like that, but I can send text messages. Anyways, I was telling him about the odd experiences that I've had out on this trip in part 1 and in part 2. Just in case you didn't watch part 1. After I set up camp, a vehicle stopped right in front of my campsite and just stayed there. Long enough for me to like get up to like go see what's going on. And as soon as I approached the vehicle, they sped off. And then later on in the night, someone's shining a flashlight into my camp from the forest. So I walk out on the road and there's 2 people, I don't know, 30 or 40 yards away. I shine my light at them. They shine their light at me. They start walking towards me. I start walking towards them thinking they needed something or whatever. And as soon as we got close, they just took off running to a campsite that was apparently across from mine. Then, all of the odd stuff that took place yesterday. I don't know. Who knows? Some of it I haven't even spoken about. And I might as well tell you, apparently there's a campsite up here on the hill. I can't see it, but yesterday evening I heard the people who were there. It sounded like a younger woman, I would say teenage, maybe 20s. All that I could hear were the F-bombs that she was screaming out. I don't know if she was talking to someone in camp or someone on the phone, but no one's gonna effing tell me who I can effing date. Seriously. That was interesting. Luckily, that didn't last too long, but still. You know, everyone, as I'm sitting here watching the sun come up, I've been thinking about some of the weird experiences that I've had on forest roads, in national forests and whatnot. Do you all remember a year or two ago, we were out in the middle of nowhere, camping, didn't see anybody on this forest road all day. Later in the night, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I wake up and there's like car lights shining right towards my vehicle, and I was sleeping in the vehicle. That was a very strange experience. I was inside of the car here. I did have my handgun with me. In North Carolina, the laws are extremely specific when it comes to concealed carry. You cannot instigate anything, obviously. If there's the opportunity to back away or not to create a scene, you have to do it. Otherwise, they can charge you. So, I'm in the vehicle, and I'm thinking about that. What I want to go do is go have some words with these gentlemen. I believe there was 2 people inside of like an older Jeep, but I didn't. And that was the responsible thing to do. What I wanted to do was go fight, but I'm sure that wouldn't have ended well for someone. That's my first instinct, but they ultimately ended up peeling out and taking off, and eventually they came back through and just tore the road up. And that is just a strange national forest road experience. Yeah. Anyways, as you all could see, the sun is coming up. That means it is time to wrap up this adventure. It is time to pack up. Cheers, everyone. My friends, I want to thank you all very much for joining me for this trip. I had a great time. I hope you all did too. Everyone, it is time to go home. If you enjoyed this trip, hit the thumbs up, consider subscribing. Oh yeah. Until next time, everyone, take care, be well, strength and honor. Be safe too.